Tonight, the urgent search for a gunman who fired at the U.S. Consulate in Toronto.
We are dealing with quite a dangerous individual or individuals.
The brazen attack and the high-speed chase after the second shooting targeting the consulate since March. Unprecedented wildfires bear down on Bordeaux.
We saw this huge plume of smoke, like a mushroom cloud or something.
France's president calling it the most dire emergency since the Second World War, and another heat wave is coming. Canadian ER doctors quitting or cutting their hours at an alarming rate.
We're also not giving patients what they need. That erodes our well-being.
What's driving the burnout?
From CBC News, this is The National with Chris Reyes.
Thank you for joining us. Adrian is away. Tonight, a manhunt is underway after a shooting at the U.S. Consulate in Toronto. It's the second time it's been targeted by gunfire this year. A single bullet hit the building early Monday morning despite an officer stationed outside. They were placed there in March following another shooting. Police then got into a high-speed chase with the suspect vehicle, but eventually called it off. Police have not said what the motive is, but as Thomas Degla explains, there are many similarities to the first shooting that happened just months ago.
Again, the focus of a national security investigation, Toronto's U.S. Consulate, hit by a single gunshot before sunrise, leaving no one injured, but setting off a high-speed chase and an urgent manhunt.
We are dealing with quite a dangerous individual or individuals.
First targeted in March, investigators said at the time gunmen opened fire toward the consulate, leading to arrests in an apparent guns-for-hire scheme and the killing of Toronto Police Constable Mark Pinizzato, shot amid the investigation. This time, authorities say a shooter fired a handgun and took off in a white sedan with no license plate, prompting a pursuit at more than 140 kilometers an hour on this major expressway until officers gave up the chase.
You would expect a highly visible police cruiser stationed right in front of the consulate would act as a deterrent. It perhaps speaks to the brazen quality of this act, the recklessness.
Again this time, the shooting follows attacks on Jewish institutions, including 2 locations of this Toronto bagel chain.
It's frightening, it's disgusting, it's just terrible, and nothing's changing.
In the spring, U.S. authorities indicted an Iraqi militant leader accused of orchestrating attacks in Toronto and Europe as an apparent proxy for Iran.
What kind of work is being done behind the scenes to determine whether there's an international nexus to this?
This investigation is very early in stages to comment on any links to the person you're speaking to in New York.
So far, it's not clear who ordered the latest shooting or who pulled the trigger.
They're certainly going to be looking at all the potential ties. Who are the individuals involved and what are their relationships, both in Canada and perhaps other parts of the world.
Now, police have not said how many suspects they believe were in that car that was used to get away. Whoever did this clearly covered their tracks by removing the license plate, Chris. Last time, police said the car that was used to get away had been stolen.
And Thomas, police also say that air support wasn't available to them in this high-speed chase.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Nearly 2 years ago, Toronto Police announced that they had received millions in provincial funding for their own helicopter. Toronto Police confirmed to me this evening that helicopter has not arrived yet, so they're still relying on other police agencies for air support. The deputy chief said at a news conference today that it could have made a big difference in that pursuit, could have ended much differently.
All right, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Germany's chancellor says more must be done to restrict the movements of people who are known security threats after a deadly attack at Berlin Pride. Abdul Balud had been convicted on terror-related charges and was out on probation when police say he drove a van into a crowd on Saturday, killing 1 woman and injuring 29 people. He was shot dead Sunday in a confrontation with police. The chancellor today criticized authorities for not keeping closer tabs on him. And tonight, crews in Spain and France are attempting to contain some of the most devastating fires those countries have seen, and another heat wave is in the forecast. One of them is burning about 15 kilometers west of Bordeaux. Officials say it will likely burn for weeks and could take months to fully extinguish. France's president calls it unprecedented. Ashley Burke shows the dangerous weather phenomenon fueling those fires.
It's extreme, erratic, and difficult to control. Wildfires in Spain and France so powerful, they're creating their own weather systems, even generating thunderstorms. It has a life of its own, says France's interior minister. It's autonomous, self-sustaining, and spreads in all directions. James Hillier captured these apocalyptic images during his holiday west of Bordeaux, then had to flee.
In the distance, we saw this huge plume of smoke, like a mushroom cloud or something. And at that point in time, the ash started to come down. We noticed there was ash falling on us, and it was covering the ground.
More than 360,000 people in France and Spain have been told to leave their homes or shelter in place. You can see the mountains you've known all your life burning, says evacuee Maria Garcia. 3 consecutive heat waves led up to this, but better weather has slowed the fires down. Now crews are racing before another is expected to hit later this week. In Spain, the Prime Minister says the climate emergency has made this the new reality. Summers are becoming increasingly difficult, destructive, and therefore deadly, he says.
We are not tackling the issue.
This local MP in Valencia and climate journalist says more needs to be done in advance.
When you have this kind of situation, it's crazy for me to think that what our governments are usually doing is funding less our prevention and extinguishing services.
French President Emmanuel Macron says his country is grappling with its most challenging period since the Second World War, and warns the week ahead will be hard. Ashley Burke, CBC News, London.
More residents in BC's interior have been forced to evacuate after 2 wildfires merged over the weekend and continue to burn out of control. Caroline Bargut has more on the growing threat and why the situation could still get worse.
For days, Marianne McKenzie witnessed flames creep toward her home. Now she's forced to watch from afar.
So there's a lot of conflicting emotions, and there is still great concern. We know the fire could loop around and threaten us again. We're very concerned for our friends and neighbors in 70 Mile House, too.
An evacuation order was issued in the village of Clinton on Friday before 2 massive fires merged. Now the threat has grown, forcing residents of nearby 70 Mile House to flee as well.
It's been heavy. It's been a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. But overall, I've been hearing laughter, I've been seeing smiles, I've been seeing warm welcomes and understanding.
The Pear Lake wildfire has burned more than 630 square kilometers of land, forcing the evacuation of about 583 properties. Some families are staying at a makeshift shelter inside a hockey arena in Kamloops. It can hold up to 113 people.
It's a very fluid situation, so as accommodations become available, that gives us more room to house people.
City officials in Kamloops say finding space has been hard. Evacuees are being encouraged to stay with friends and family if they can, but they say everyone who needs a place will get one.
They're dealing with some of the toughest times in their life. So we're doing our best here at the reception center with the amazing volunteers that we do have to provide them the supports.
Over 130 wildfires are burning across the province, and with firefighters stretched thin, help is on the way.
In the upcoming days, we expect to see 2 unit crews from Alberta. They are usually in that 20 range, so that would be 40 additional resources incoming.
Firefighters are also coming from Yukon and Mexico, about 200 people in total. Officials say hot, dry weather along with strong winds are expected to continue, so that support will be needed. Caroline Bargut, CBC News, Vancouver.
A powerful storm and tornado ripped through parts of northeast Wisconsin, cutting power to thousands of people.
No, this definitely tornado. We should go to the basement. Definitely. Oh.
The utility company says power was knocked out of Menasha, a city of nearly 20,000 people north of Milwaukee. Officials say roofs were ripped off, homes and trees and power lines were downed. The Gordie Howe International Bridge linking Ontario and Michigan is now officially open for business, despite growing tensions between the 2 countries. Jennifer LaGrassa spoke to some of the first people to make the drive.
At long last, the first passenger vehicle crossed the Gordie Howe International Bridge between Michigan and Ontario, marking its official opening. The driver, the grandson of the iconic Canadian hockey player who is also named Gordie Howe.
It feels historic. It feels like personally a memory that we will treasure.
A similar feeling for many in Windsor, Ontario, who have waited more than 20 years for this bridge and finally got to drive the span.
It feels unreal. I was hoping I'd live long enough to see it. And here we are. We're going to drop dead tonight. It'll be okay. Mission accomplished.
Political tension between Canada and the U.S. delayed the planned opening last month and created uncertainty over whether the $6.4 billion structure would ever actually open to traffic. Canada paid for it but shares ownership with Michigan. American officials were uninvited from Canada's event on Friday, marking the milestone after Donald Trump threatened to impose new 50% tariffs on Canada. But some politicians, like Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, still marked the opening by driving across the bridge Monday. Hundreds of billions of dollars in trade cross this border every year.
So there's significant savings.
Some in the trucking industry say this new crossing with a direct highway-to-highway connection between the 401 and I-75 will be better for business compared to the nearby privately owned Ambassador Bridge.
When you take into reduced toll rates, driving times, fuel, it's anywhere between $10,000 and $100,000 a month for a trucking company.
The Gordie Howe Bridge, which opens to pedestrians and cyclists August 5th, is yet another physical link between two nations whose long friendship is being tested. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
And in the Middle East, the U.S. and Iran have paused attacks, an apparent attempt to get peace talks back on track. As Katie Simpson shows us, this comes as new questions arise about U.S. weapons supplies.
The American blockade of Iranian ports is the priority for U.S. forces in the Middle East, as the military strikes are put on hold, at least for now.
No, Iran took a beating over the last 14 days, and they asked us very nicely, please stop.
President Donald Trump ordering the pause after nearly 2 straight weeks of attacks. He says in order to give diplomacy a chance.
You know, we're having good talks, so we'll see what happens. I think there's a good chance that something could happen, and if it does, good. If it doesn't, we go back to doing what we were doing 2 days ago.
Iran has also pulled back on its attacks, but denies Trump's characterization. Officials say messages about the Strait of Hormuz, the vital energy shipping corridor, are being passed through intermediaries, but there are no direct talks with the U.S. We have never and will never allow the U.S. to determine when there is war or peace, says the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman. The conflicting accounts come amid new questions about why the U.S. has decided to pause attacks now.
It's not classified that we're short on munitions. And I think that that kind of shortage is a factor in the decisions made about tactics and strategy.
Multiple U.S. news agencies have reported there are growing concerns about dwindling weapons stockpiles.
We've expended tens of thousands of weapons. They're not keeping track. At this point, this president and the people around him are incompetent.
While Trump says the U.S. could use more sophisticated weapons, he rejected reports of shortages.
We have a lot of ammunition, different types. You know, Biden gave a lot to Ukraine. And so we're building that up.
Trump also downplayed concern that Russia is helping Iran by providing satellite images of potential targets. He said if they are, it's not working, and he plans to ask Vladimir Putin about it.
And Katie, the war and next steps will be discussed Tuesday.
Yeah, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will be in D.C. Trump says they're mostly on the same page about the war, but recent tension in the relationship could be on display in their planned meeting.
Katie Simpson in Washington tonight. Thank you. Netanyahu's Washington visit comes as violence spikes in the occupied West Bank. 2 mosques were burned on the weekend in an apparent attack by Israeli settlers. The word revenge was spray painted on one, along with the name of an Israeli soldier killed in a separate incident on Friday. In that clash, 4 Palestinians and 2 Israeli soldiers died, reportedly after a group of settlers entered a village and were confronted by residents. Police in Seattle say a 15-year-old has been arrested and they're searching for a second suspect after a shooting at a popular food festival on Sunday. 3 people were killed and reports say a third suspect is among them.
We do believe that there was an exchange of gunfire. We have one person in custody that our officers took into custody. We need to figure out who that other person is.
Police initially said there were 2 suspects, but according to the Associated Press, court documents reveal investigators now believe a third suspect was killed in the shooting. The 15-year-old is in custody on firearms violations and first-degree assault. 4 other people were injured in the shooting, including a 2-year-old boy. Calgary police say they're pulling back their extensive ground search for 11-year-old Parker nearly 2 weeks after he walked away from a care home and vanished.
Our approach is changing, but our resolve to find answers for Parker and his family is not. We will continue to follow up on tips, re-examine evidence, and pursue any new leads that emerge.
Parker has autism and is nonverbal. His disappearance sparked a citywide search by hundreds of officers and volunteers. Police say they do not suspect foul play. A new survey suggests 1 in 10 Canadian ER doctors are leaving their jobs. One of the reasons, burnout. The result, many say, of a broken healthcare system. Lauren Pelly explains its troubling findings and the potential impact on patients.
Canadian emergency rooms keep losing more physicians. Many say they're burning out and feeling high levels of distress. A new national survey of hundreds of ER doctors found 1 in 10 have left the specialty, 5 in 10 have reduced clinical hours, and 2 in 10 have taken time off.
They described some really terrible circumstances of working in the emergency department. Everybody commented on the increased workload and the deteriorating clinical care. And most physicians felt powerless to change that.
The findings follow years of warnings about hallway healthcare and dangerously long wait times. Just this May, 33-year-old Travis Smith died in the waiting room of an Edmonton ER.
Canadians are dying each year because of hospital and emergency department overcrowding. So this is, it's something that haunts you. It's something that stays with you forever.
We're being asked to do more and more every year without the commensurate resources that allow us to provide better care.
This physician says many ER doctors feel like they're letting patients down.
That erodes our well-being. The feeling that we're being shortchanged ourselves in the ability to do what we love, and we're also not giving patients what they need. And that's where this attrition is coming from.
At their summer meeting, Canada's premiers pushed for more predictable healthcare funding from the federal government, while outside advocacy groups called on the premiers themselves to tackle yet another summer of emergency room closures in many rural and remote parts of the country. Still, there are no clear solutions in place to stop this mass exodus of frontline physicians, a problem some say could keep getting worse. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
A new photo of U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell was released today, but questions persist about his health and his future. His office says this shot with his wife was taken Sunday at the rehab facility, which he is still not medically cleared to leave. He disappeared from the public eye in June, which fueled speculation. Earlier this month, it was revealed that he was recovering in hospital from a fall. New numbers show soccer has surged in popularity since Canada hosted the FIFA World Cup.
This is our sport now. This is our game now, too.
Why some say there's still room to grow. A former elite hockey player from Ukraine on how his background prepared him for war.
On ice, sometimes you have to fight. You do what you have to do.
His stories from the battlefield. And the Gordie Howe Bridge's biggest fan.
Oh my God.
We're back in 2.
This is going to be a double twist to Yurchenko. Watch the height that she gets off the table.
Oh dear, that is just breathtaking.
Canadian Leah Monica Fontaine winning gold in the women's vault at the Commonwealth Games. That win secured the 16-year-old her 3rd medal at the Games. Canada also struck gold in the men's pommel horse with Jordan Carroll. And on the rings with Felix Dolce. After 4 days, Canada has 21 medals, including 7 gold. New polling suggests the recent FIFA World Cup got nearly 2 million Canadians to develop an interest in soccer. That would mean it has surged past baseball and is second only to hockey. Karen Pauls shows us what's behind those numbers.
Big goals propelling Canada's national men's team further into the World Cup than ever before.
Say who are Canada? Say who are Canada?
Canadians were all in, and new numbers show it. These players still buzzing about it.
It was a big moment for us, like making it to the round of 16.
It's definitely something that Canada should be proud of. I think the future's big. I think this soccer can really be the main sport.
Soccer is already the most played sport in Canada. Now, according to a new survey taken in the final days of the World Cup, soccer is our second favorite sport to watch, behind hockey, but ahead of baseball, basketball, and football. It's number 1 for Canadians aged 18 to 29 and those not born in Canada.
I mean, hockey still is number 1, and so I still think it's a core part of our identity, but I think it reflects how much Canada is actually changing itself.
We built something nobody saw coming. A team that belongs on any pitch.
Canada Soccer is delighted.
It was a chance for us to say that Canadians have room in their heart for more than one sport. This is our sport now. This is our game now, too.
But there have been big moments for other Canadian sports teams. After the Blue Jays World Series playoff run last year, Baseball Canada says registrations for youth baseball programs soared this spring.
Canada, the NBA title is yours!
After the Raptors' NBA championship in 2019, youth enrollment in basketball increased 35%.
I think soccer has a great chance of becoming Canada's next sport.
But this sports journalist says it may take another generation to get there.
Simply because that next moment of winning on the world stage, gathering the whole country, we might be still a few years, few decades from that.
The Women's World Cup is next summer. Canada's women won Olympic gold in 2020, and now there's hope both national teams will compete in LA in 2028, carrying that momentum forward. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A former Ukrainian hockey player who left the rink for the military when Russia invaded is now on a different kind of journey. As Briar Stewart shows us, he sustained severe injuries on the battlefield, but is hoping he can eventually get back to the game he loves.
This has become a pre-surgery routine for Alexander Matvichuk, a way to track progress as doctors meticulously work to rebuild his face.
When he come to us, he doesn't have the nose. The nose was destroyed. He couldn't eat because the jaw not open.
This was how Matvichuk looked in the weeks after he'd been shot in the face. He was serving with Ukraine's military intelligence agency, part of a unit tasked with some of the riskiest missions. A much different reality than what he faced with the teams he used to be a part of.
This for national team.
Matvichuk was an elite hockey player and spent nearly a decade playing with Ukraine's national team. But earlier in his career, he played both in Canada and in Russia.
I even have a little Russian medal.
In recent years, he was a coach. But that part of his life was abruptly shelved when Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
I didn't know how to use guns and what to do. But I thought, I have been so long in sports. I'm well trained, so I can learn it.
In some ways, he thinks hockey helped prepare him for the military.
On ice, sometimes you have to fight. You do what you have to do. You have to be fast to score goals. You have to be smart. You have to play with your partners. To score a goal, that's what you do.
But he admits war is much dirtier. He did this interview with CBC just a few hours after Russia launched a massive missile strike against Kyiv, killing at least 28 people. Medvedchuk has been awarded military medals to add to his collection, but it's the rink that he really yearns for.
I want to go back to it, but I don't feel free to do it. I feel that war is not over.
He's not sure what will come next for him, so for now, he's focused on healing and is scheduled for at least one more surgery this fall. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.
A U.S. base is preparing to train members of the Canadian Air Force as this country awaits an order of F-35 fighter jets.
When it's night one of major combat operations, we don't have time to establish trust.
Why the two sides are collaborating and how the planes stack up. Millions of Canadians unknowingly living in homes with high levels of toxic gas.
Why me? I did all the things I'm supposed to do.
The efforts to tackle the hidden threat posed by radon.
Vladimir, you are the first leader I have welcomed in person since taking office.
Britain's Prime Minister met today with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. In reiterating his country's support for Kyiv, Andy Burnham said he'll arm Ukraine with new British-made drone jamming technology. The UK has committed $25 billion in funding to Kyiv since Russia's full-scale invasion more than 4 years ago. There's growing frustration in Washington over Ottawa's ongoing review of its F-35 fighter jets deal, put on hold in the wake of Trump's escalating trade war. In the winter, David Common traveled to an Air Force training base in Arizona, where gaining expertise in the F-35 cockpit trumps political indifference.
Arizona's Luke Air Force Base is a vast facility which opens to an even more sprawling desert. Much of it reserves space for pilots from the U.S. and other nations as they learn to fly the F-35 fighter jet. By this summer, that will include Canadian Air Force pilots.
This actual plane is one Canadian pilots will soon be training on. It is part of the U.S. Air Force, but until Canada's aircraft get manufactured and delivered, they'll be training on ones like this.
Canada has committed to buying 16 of the stealth jets. We can't get out of the contract now, even if polls suggest many Canadians would rather switch over to a European-built jet. The question for the Carney government is whether to buy any more, up to 72 more F-35s with a multi-billion-dollar price tag. President Trump's threats to seize Greenland.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
Perhaps on the back burner now, have exacerbated the jet debate. And if it's controversial for Canadians, imagine what it's like to be a European pilot training alongside the Americans.
I think the whole world has to adjust a little bit to the way politics are run, it seems, at this time.
Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Loisterberg is an instructor pilot for the Netherlands Air Force.
Interesting times, let's call it that.
But he says they can't let it distract them. Even if there is a political divorce underway between Europe and the U.S., Loisterberg, who everyone here calls just Nicky, is still glad his country chose the F-35.
And transitioning to the F-35 was like stepping into a science fiction movie. It is actually amazing what this aircraft can do.
It might not be as easy for Denmark. It also bought the F-35 and trained here at the airbase. Even deployed the jets to Greenland as a show of force against the very country that built them. Talk about irony.
You know, when it's night one of major combat operations, we don't have time to establish trust and relationships. So when you build that trust in a training environment right at the beginning of your flying career, we can move that much more quickly on night one of a fight tonight type scenario.
Brigadier General David Birkeland commands the Luke Air Base. He flies the F-35 and has trained and flown on operations with Canadians through his entire career. He says pilots just can't get caught up in politics.
So we're ready. We're super excited to get the RCAF here, and we are fully prepared to bring them in and welcome them onto the team and into the family here at Luke Air Force Base.
Canada's Air Force is replacing its aged CF-18s. It originally had 138 of them, but fewer than 80 still function. With only 16 F-35s being built for Canada, the Carney government either needs more of the American jet or to supplement what we have with a second plane. Sweden is selling its Gripen jet as an alternative, a fighter most observers see as very capable, but not as sophisticated as the F-35.
Well, the Gripen versus F-35?
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Sure. Nikki was ready for that.
For me as an operator, it's very simple, right? I want to do the best I can. I want to win the war. I want to go home to my family afterwards. And I couldn't be happier that my country decided for F-35. So let's answer it that way.
Because you think it makes those more likely?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I think the F-35 is a way better platform than the Gripen.
What's the relationship look like between our two countries on the defense front?
I think it's awesome.
As we visited Luke Air Force Base, so too was the American ambassador to Ottawa, Pete Hoekstra.
If I look at polling, there was a poll that came out at the end of 2025 that said 72% of Canadians don't want the government to buy any more F-35s. They want to switch either entirely over to a Swedish fighter or do something else.
That's a Canadian decision. Okay, that's a national security decision for Canada. All right, if interoperability, if interchangeability isn't important to the Canadians anymore, they may go in a different direction.
As I've said on many occasions, the question of acquisition of a replacement fighter fleet and the F-35 in particular remains under review.
Canada's Defence Minister, David McGuinty.
We have to consider facts like interoperability, we have to consider facts like benefits, industrial benefits around the country, something that's being worked out.
But if Canada doesn't buy more of the F-35s, Ambassador Hoekstra says it may mean American fighter jets need to enter Canadian airspace more often to deal with incoming threats.
Could the U.S. do more to get Canada's continued business on this?
Sure, sure we could do more. But again, it's not about doing more or less. It's making sure that we get to a fair agreement for both the United States and for Canada.
And that'll be complicated, especially when so many Canadians oppose buying more of the American planes, even as internal defense assessments say they're exactly what Canada's military most needs.
Training of Canadian F-35 pilots was expected to begin this summer at Arizona's Luke Air Force Base, where the delivery of Canada's first jet is scheduled for later this year. Coming up, an odorless gas with potentially deadly consequences could be lingering in your home.
Canadians are amongst the most radon-exposed persons on this planet.
Lauren Pelly on how it's detected and the damaging impacts. Radon is a naturally occurring gas commonly found at varying levels in homes across Canada. But not many people are aware of its presence or that exposure to certain levels might carry huge health risks. Lauren Pelly breaks down the dangers and how to detect it.
It's toxic.
What was I breathing in for so long, for all those years?
You can't see or smell it.
It's completely invisible to human senses.
And millions of Canadians have no idea it's hiding in their own homes.
We're talking about radon, a radioactive gas that's the top cause of lung cancer among non-smokers.
Research shows an estimated 10 million people across the country are living in houses with high amounts of radon, and the number of homes with dangerous levels has more than doubled since 2012. Scientists are trying to tackle this hidden threat to prevent deadly cases of lung cancer.
The goal is to save lives, but as we found out, that's an uphill battle.
To understand the potential human impact of radon exposure, we went to Calgary to meet Steve Blake.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Good. Until 2 years ago, Steve was at the top of his game. The avid golfer felt healthy and fit until a nagging cough led to a devastating diagnosis.
The emergency doc came in and said, "Hey, I got some bad news for you guys. you've got lung cancer, just like that. And Steve and I looked at each other and went, pardon? Like, there's no way.
Steve and his wife Kelly later learned his cancer is stage 4, treatable but not curable.
I still turn around and go, why me? You know, I did all the things I'm supposed to do.
The father of 2 never smoked. When he learned of the links between lung cancer and radon, he wondered how much was hiding in his own home.
There is a strong desire to know, is this a cause?
Radon gas is naturally released in the soil when rock breaks down. It dissipates safely in the air, but can build up inside closed spaces, like your home. When you inhale radon, it decays into dangerous radioactive particles.
You installed a monitor down here.
Yes. Yeah, it was recommended to put it in the basement.
Steve spent decades working in his basement. The monitor he put in last year revealed the grim truth. It's a danger zone with high radon levels.
Definitely started saying that, hey, there's something wrong here.
When you saw this device turning red over and over, what was going through your mind?
I just wish there was more information available at the time that we built the house.
Many Canadians remain in the dark. Health officials say 4 in 10 households are unaware of radon, even though radon-induced lung cancer is estimated to kill more than 3,000 Canadians every year. That's more than car accidents, carbon monoxide poisoning, and house fires combined. Nearby in Calgary, we visited a groundbreaking research lab where biochemist and molecular biologist Aaron Godarzi leads a national study on radon.
Canadians are amongst the most radon-exposed persons on this planet.
The team's research shows radon levels vary across the country, and no region is totally safe. 1 out of every 6 properties in Ontario and Quebec has concerning levels. The risk level increases to 1 in 5 properties in the Prairies and Northwest Territories, and 1 in 3 properties in the Atlantic provinces, along with Yukon and the BC interior, while the risk of radon is the lowest on the Pacific coast. The researchers didn't have access to any testing data from Nunavut.
We can absolutely see the effect of it once it hits our lungs. It absolutely bulldozes the DNA of the cells it encounters.
Godarzi showed us the dramatic damage to cells before and after they're exposed to radon.
What we're seeing here, these breaks in the DNA, what does that actually mean for someone if this was happening in your body?
What those mean are genetic mutations, and that is the cause of all cancers.
In Canada and much of the world, lung cancer is the deadliest type you can get. Godarzi's team says most people can't access screening programs and get diagnosed far too late.
If you've never smoked in your life, but you've had high radon exposure, you are currently not eligible.
Researcher Dustin Pearson says we need to expand lung cancer screening to Canadians exposed to high levels of radon. But the key is finding a way to prove it by studying something most of us throw away: toenail clippings.
It might sound a little weird at first, but there's a good reason for it.
Pearson explained when you inhale radon, it turns into a type of radioactive lead, which is shed in slow-growing bodily tissues, like your skin, hair, and nails. Toenails have the least exposure to chemicals and cleaners.
Now there's something in them that we can actually measure.
The team is aiming to collect 10,000 toenail samples from across the country. They're processed in a special metal-free lab to prevent contamination, then analyzed inside this massive machine. The ultimate goal of all that work?
Save lives, save healthcare dollars, and to reduce the overall burden of lung cancer in Canada.
So what about all the houses across the country that could be slowly exposing people to toxic radon? The only way to know what's happening in your own home is to have it tested by a professional or by installing a monitor.
So if someone has high radon levels, how much does mitigation work actually cost? Well, first, if you need to test, radon monitors are sometimes given out by regions for free. But if you're paying out of pocket, they can cost around $200. And the actual mitigation systems can be anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, and sometimes much more.
We tried to figure out how Canadians pay for all this and whether there's any government support. Ontario uses its home warranty program, while Manitoba lets you spread out costs over your hydro bill.
But really, it's very patchwork. Most provinces don't have any grants or funding for radon mitigation, and there's no one federal program covering the whole country.
We know that cost is a significant barrier to people actually taking action on radon.
Sarah Butson is head of the Canadian Lung Association. She says charities like hers try to fill the gap.
If you know that you can't afford actually mitigating on the other side of that, why test?
Last year, Butson says the organization doled out around $150,000 to help roughly 100 households afford mitigation work.
The reality is that programs like ours are at capacity, and so we need more support to actually be able to fill that gap even further.
The last leg of our journey took us to Ottawa. We brought a long list of questions for the experts at Health Canada.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Inside this lab, scientists like Pavel Makarski are working to protect more Canadians from the dangers of radon.
We have the wide range of detectors that you can see here. You can see that they come in all shapes and sizes.
The team tests out home radon detectors for accuracy inside this sealed chamber. Another device shows what happens when radon breaks down into alpha radiation. It contains a cloud of alcohol vapor, and when the radiation passes through, droplets form along those paths.
It's really hard to picture what radon looks like, but this gives us a sense of what happens when that radiation hits your lung tissue. It looks like a battleground.
The team's research informed a major update to the Canadian Building Code, just released in December 2025. It now requires newly built homes to have a passive radon stack, acting like a chimney to funnel the gas outside.
It's going to take a while because it needs to be adopted by provinces and territories, but long term, we are going to be building homes in Canada that have less radon in it.
For Canadians who want to update existing homes, Health Canada's manager of radon outreach, Kelly Bush, says that's up to the provinces as well.
We definitely want to see more provinces coming on board and having funding programs that are available to Canadians so that they can mitigate more easily.
Without more awareness and support, many Canadians could keep living in homes with high radon levels without ever knowing it, just like Steve Blake. He's hopeful experimental treatments will extend his life, and he's now installing a radon mitigation system in his home, even though there's no way to prove what caused his stage 4 lung cancer.
There's no test that they can, blood work, whatever they could pull from me and conclusively say it was your basement that gave you this cancer, it's the house that's going to kill you.
Coming up, a young fan of the Gordie Howe Bridge finally gets to cross it.
We just thought, what a neat idea to watch the progress of the bridge along with him growing.
The exciting moment and what it means to him coming up next. This is 6-year-old Lucas Laguerre, and he's a big fan of the Gordie Howe Bridge, so much so that he's been checking in on its progress every week since he was just 2. So, of course, as soon as it opened to the public, Lucas was there, and tonight, his trip across the bridge with his mom makes our moment.
Open the bridge! We crossed Gordie Howe Bridge. Yeah, are we on the bridge?
We'll be in about 3 seconds.
We're on the bridge now.
We are on the bridge now. Look at all those cables.
Oh my god. It was very big. On the bridge it looks even larger. Because now you have to drive down. There's lots of this part that you have to drive down.
Yeah.
The bridge is pretty. This is over there on that side it's not really. There's so much towers.
We would make trips there every Friday to take a look to see. Lucas wanted to see, how much further along they got. So each week it would change a little bit.
We just thought, what a neat idea to watch the progress of the bridge along with him growing.
Lucas, how long have you been waiting for this bridge to open?
Very, 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 very long.
I can't believe we're on the bridge finally.
Finally.
Finally, Lucas, if you're watching, never lose your zest for life. And we should all take notes from you. From all of us at the National, thank you for being with us. I'm Chris Reyes. Take care.